Dear friends, there's a big story coming out of Missouri that could reshape not only the state's politics but also raise bigger questions about democracy itself. The Missouri House just passed two controversial bills. One is a brand new congressional map that critics say is heavily gerrymandered, and the other makes it harder for citizens to pass laws through ballot initiatives. Let's break it down together and think about what this really means. So first, let's talk about the map. Right now, Missouri sends 8 members to the U.S. House, and the balance has been 6 Republicans and 2 Democrats. But this new Missouri First map would tilt things even more: 7 Republicans, 1 Democrat.
How?
By breaking apart Kansas City's Democratic-leaning district and scattering it across surrounding areas, diluting its influence. That means Congressman Emanuel Cleaver, who represents Kansas City, would suddenly be in a very different, much less favorable district. And here's where it gets interesting. Cleaver says he's going to sue, arguing that the map relies on outdated census data and violates the Constitution. The Missouri NAACP is also preparing to fight this in court, saying it disenfranchises urban voters and communities of color. Do you think courts should step in to stop lawmakers from drawing maps that seem designed to favor one party? Or do you think this is just politics as usual? Now, let's switch to the second piece of legislation because this one affects something bigger than just district lines. It affects direct democracy itself. Missouri, like many states, allows citizens to put initiatives or constitutional amendments on the ballot. If a majority of voters approve it statewide, it becomes law. Pretty straightforward, right? But under this new proposal, it wouldn't be enough to win the statewide majority anymore. A measure would also have to win in at least 4 of the state's 8 congressional districts. Think about what that means. A proposal could win 60 or even 70% of the vote overall, but if it loses in just a few districts, it fails. Analysts say that as little as 5 or 6% of voters, concentrated in one area, could block something supported by millions across the state. Does that sound like fair representation to you? Or is it more like giving veto power to a small group of people? This change didn't come out of nowhere. In recent years, voters in Missouri passed initiatives on things like abortion rights and legalizing marijuana, issues that lawmakers in the Capitol often opposed. By tightening the rules, critics say Republicans are making sure those kinds of measures don't succeed again. Supporters argue it's about making sure all regions of the state have a say, not just the big cities. But here's the question: should democracy be majority rule, or should it give more weight to geography? Reactions have been strong on both sides. Republicans insist the map and the ballot changes are legal and fair. Some even say they're making districts more compact. But Democrats argue these moves are part of a larger effort to tilt the playing field and silence voters. One Democratic lawmaker went as far as calling it the systematic destruction of our democracy. And in Kansas City, people are worried. One resident described it as sad, seeing people's political voices intentionally split apart. Now, it's important to note, this isn't a done deal yet. Both measures still have to clear the state Senate. Democrats there don't have the votes to stop them outright, but they can filibuster and use procedural tools to slow things down. Meanwhile, lawsuits are already being prepared, so the courts will almost certainly have the final say. But even beyond Missouri, this is part of a bigger trend. Across the country, we're seeing states use mid-decade redistricting to strengthen partisan control before the 2026 elections. It raises some tough questions. Are we moving toward a system where politicians pick their voters instead of voters picking their politicians? And if citizens lose the power to pass ballot initiatives, how much of a say do ordinary people really have in shaping their state's future? So I'll throw this to you. Do you think Missouri's approach is protecting fairness or undermining democracy? Should ballot initiatives need regional approval, or should a majority vote be enough? And do you believe gerrymandering should be left to lawmakers or handled by independent commissions? Thanks for sticking with me through this breakdown. These are complicated issues, but they're important, and they affect us all, whether we live in Missouri or not. If you found this helpful, make sure to give it a like, share it with a friend who follows politics, and don't forget to subscribe so you won't miss future updates. I'd also love to hear your thoughts in the comments. What side of this debate do you land on? Until next time, take care, and I'll see you in the next video.